Alright, so I'm going to be showing you how to open up and disassemble this Lenovo Legion. This is a Y7000P IRH8, alright? So this customer actually said this computer came from China, so I'm not sure how many people will have this model, but I guess we'll find out. Alright, we're going to be using a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver to remove all the screws from the bottom. You want to keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them, alright? So we got 4 going along the back here, 1 on either side, and then 4 more going along the front. There's a little hole here for the 1 key recovery. This little hole, you can use like a small folded out paper clip or maybe even a sim eject tool. I don't know if it's long enough, but yeah, a little pin or needle to press that if you're trying to get to the recovery mode or you want to change the boot device, go into the BIOS, things like that, you would press this button. Usually that button also will power on the computer, so if for some reason your power button is broken, you can try pushing this button while the computer's off, and usually it will turn it on. This button only does something when the computer is off, usually. On some models, it's a battery reset, but since it has there's a little logo here, like a kind of a upside down, I don't know what you'd call that. It's like an upside down U, or like rainbow or whatever. And then it has an arrow. That's the 1 key recovery symbol. Alright, so anyways, we're almost done getting all the screws out, and then we're going to pop the bottom cover off. The customer brought this in because the fan is making buzzing noises, so we're going to see if we can figure out which fan is bad, and hopefully we can repair the fan. Otherwise, we have to see if we can find replacements, but since this model came from China, might be a little difficult to find. Alright, let's go ahead and pop the bottom cover off. The way I do that is I get my fingernails between the palm rest and the bottom cover, and then I'll push on the top of the palm rest. Don't push on the touchpad, okay? So let's see if that works with this model, and it seems to work fine, alright? Again, you don't want to press on the touchpad, so we're going to go over to this part and push that, and you can see we already popped the whole front out. Once you pop the front out, okay, you see how this is popped up. You can kind of get in there, and I like to push down with my thumb and pull up with my fingers there, and then work my way down the side. And you can see it popped open, and the other side kind of already, I feel like it popped open on its own, but yep, there you go. Okay, and then we got to work our way around the back. The back has this kind of little shape going here, so it might be a little tricky, but same thing, I just run my fingernail under there while I'm pulling it out, and you can see it's all popping out. Okay, so let's see if the whole thing is released, and then there we go. Carefully lift it, and wow, it's super dusty in there. I don't know if you can see that. These fans are packed full of dust, and that's why it's getting issues. So basically that fine powdery dust gets in the fan bearings, and then it messes it up. So we're most likely going to have to repair the fans. I'm gonna use a brush, clean that up, and then blow the dust out. Beforehand, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery here. So I'll zoom in here just to show you. But basically, like on every model, try and get as close as you can to the connector as possible. I'm trying to lift this up out of this little groove here first, okay? So wiggle that up and get that out so we have a little more slack to work with. And then try and get as close as you can to the connector as possible. Grab, and then you kind of just wiggle it side to side. Sorry, I know my hand's in the way. Maybe I can show from down here, but you wiggle it side to side, and you can see how it's already coming out. Okay, so just like that. This one also has wings, so it makes it easier, and then you can pull that back. All right, so there we go. To be safe, what we're going to do is, now that we have the battery disconnected, we're going to open up the laptop, and then we're going to press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds to drain any residual power. All right, this makes it a lot safer to work on. Some people ask if you have to do this. This is a pretty important step. Honestly, you don't have to do it, but I mean, it's the same thing as saying, do you have to push the brakes and stop at a red light, or can you just run through the red light? Like, don't take that risk, okay? Especially this is only 15 seconds. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna clean the dust out real quick, and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. You can see how much cleaner it is already. And here you can see inside the fans are much cleaner as well. Alright, There's still some powder on the outside that doesn't really want to come off easily. But yeah, all right. So I don't know what happened to my powerful Lenovo charger. I'll have to see if the little one works with it. But from just spinning it, I can't really tell. Actually, okay, this fan seems to be the one. You see how well this spins? Okay, you can tell that the fan is good by how it like wobbles back and forth like this. You see this fan? It just gets stuck. Okay, so basically we need to pull the fan out and then reapply the paste. I wonder why this looks, there's like a thing here that looks burnt. Anyways, let's just quickly go through what I see inside here. Battery model number is right there. Okay, L22B4PC2. Okay, that's the battery model number. There's a few screws holding it. There's 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So there's 6 screws total holding it down. I'm just going to quickly show what's inside here because the main issue is the fan. That's what I'm working on. And it looks like we're going to have to pull the heatsink up. So we're going to have to reapply thermal paste. Yeah, so that's going to be a little bit of a pain. Hopefully they use thermal pads instead of putty so that I can just reuse those. But yeah, other than that, let's continue going over what I see inside here. There's random gunk here that what is this? I don't know. Okay, there's a little connector here from this board to that. This is for the camera on-off switch as well as the SD card slot. And then there's also a CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery underneath the wireless card. Okay, wireless card, 1 screw. If you remove it, you can pull it up slightly and pull it back. There is this clear plastic thing on top. That's to keep the antennas from coming out. To get the antennas out, you would have to peel that off and then go from the tail and pull straight up. If you want to see how I do that, I have other videos where I show that. The keyboard does seem to, or the motherboard has an RGB keyboard backlight, but it's only using this regular keyboard backlight connector. Okay, there's also the keyboard connector here. So this is for the backlight, this is for the keyboard, this is for the touchpad, trackpad. They all have these little flip latches here. I'm not taking this stuff out again because the only thing we need to do is basically remove the fan, try and repair it, and then put it all back together. Okay, I am most likely going to have to redo the thermal paste. I'm going to replace that with PTM7950. But yeah. Okay, what else? The charge port and all these ports on the back are soldered. All right, there's a connector here. Does it say what it's for? It doesn't really say. It says... Yeah, it doesn't really say, but there's a wire, a flat wire going under there. I'm not sure where it's going to. Maybe when we take the heatsink out, we'll find out more. There's a M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD here, 1 screw, then it pops up slightly and you can pull it back. Speaker connector here, this cable, or to remove this, usually I use my fingernail and wiggle it to pull it out. And then there's the speaker, there's a wire going from that speaker to the other speaker over here. No screws holding it in place, just these little rubber things with a little plastic that's kind of sticking out over the top. So you just wiggle it to pull it out. Touchpad has 2 screws holding here, so I'm pretty sure the touchpad is removable and replaceable. Keyboard is held in with melted plastic, so if you need to replace the keyboard, just replace the whole palm rest assembly, transfer the screen, the motherboard, everything over. Okay, there is another M.2 PCIe NVMe slot here, so you can put another SSD with a screw that will hold it down. So they have the screw here, that's nice. All right, fan connector, one of them's here, the other one's here. And I think that's about all to show here. This is the little button that I was talking about, the 1 key recovery button here. So, yeah. Okay. Anyways, let's go ahead now, disconnect the fans, and then pull the heatsink up. Did I get a thumbnail of this? I'm not sure. Let's zoom out. I think I did, but not when it was clean. So let's get a clean thumbnail. All right, now that the dust is cleaned out. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we are going to also have to lift up this. So this has the RAM underneath. And there's a little hole on the side here. I don't know if you can see that. If you're gonna lift this up, make sure that you're not pulling up the RAM itself, that green thing there, okay? So I'm gonna get underneath this and I'm gonna lift this up, okay? So we're gonna just pull up on this metal. Oh wow, this thing is on there tight. Okay, so pull that up, all right? And then we're gonna work our way around slowly, kind of work your way all around the edges. Again, be careful not to go too far in because you don't wanna accidentally pry up the stick of RAM itself. Okay, so we're gonna slowly work our way around. And work our way around there. Is there a thermal pad helping hold it down? Wow, that's like stuck. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna rotate this so it's easier for me to pull on it, hopefully. We're gonna go from this side. Maybe removing the battery will help because then I don't have to try and work within this little space. It's kind of up in the way, but we're gonna slowly pry this, okay? And get that edge, okay? And now we just got the back portions that are kind of stuck here. There we go. All right, so there we go. There was thermal pads. As you can see, one thermal pad was actually stuck to this, and then the other thermal pad is right there. So the RAM, pull these two tabs aside. There's two slots. This is 8 gig PC5 5600B. It's the first time I've seen that 5600B. Why isn't it focusing? Come on. Okay, PC5 5600B. Hopefully you can see that. So there's an 8 gig stick, so most likely two 8 gig sticks. All right, and this stuff left some weird gooey stuff that makes it look like liquid, but that's from the thermal pad. Anyways, we're gonna leave the thermal pad there, and we're just gonna undo the screws now for the heatsink. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit because we are gonna have to undo screws for the fans as well. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it somewhat zoomed out like that. The fan connectors are here. Actually, I should show this close up. Okay, so the fan connector's here. I just use my fingernails, and then at the wings of the white connector, I wiggle. Just wiggle like this and slowly walk it out just like that. Make sure when you put the connector back, you put it the same way. As you can see, the pins are showing through this connector. You don't want to flip it upside down and then try and plug it in where it's solid like that, okay? So make sure it's facing the right way. The other way you can tell is if you look at the front, you can see the pins are closer to the bottom. And then if you look here, you can actually see the pins are also closer to the bottom, okay? You can actually also see how this has two little dimples sticking up. Oops, I didn't mean to push into that. And then in the gray part at the bottom, you can actually see where those dimples go, or whatever you call those little things. Okay, so same thing with this fan. We're gonna pull that out. Again, I just go from the wings and then wiggle, 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 and eventually it pops out just like that, okay? So there we go. All right, what else? Now let's go ahead and undo all the screws. Again, there are screws holding down the fans as well as the heatsink, so we're gonna have to go all around. All right, again, we're using a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. Again, keep all the screws in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. All right, are there other screws around the top? No. Okay, so there's 3 screws holding down around the GPU. If you want, you can peel this off, but I'd just leave it there. I'd rather not peel the tape out, okay? So we're gonna get this one out, and then there's one up here. Okay. All right, and then we got one under the warranty sticker and another one down here. I'll get the warranty sticker one in a bit. Again, keep all the screws in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. One more screw over here. Okay, there's little like cat hairs or something all caught in here that I need to kind of pull them out. So I'm going to use needle nose pliers and just kind of grab these out if I can. Although, once we get the fan out, hopefully we'll be able to have access to more of that because there's a lot of like fur in there. Okay, so we do need to lift up the sticker here. I mean, this is from China, so It's probably already out of warranty. I don't know if I'll be able to safely get this sticker off, but I'll try. Okay, usually I try and peel these up and then put them back if I can, but usually, I mean, they're designed to tear, so yeah, it's already tearing, so it's probably just gonna tear completely. We'll try and undo the screw. Yep, it's tearing itself, so that one's gone. All right, we're gonna toss that warranty sticker away. I mean, it's already out of warranty anyways, but usually I try and rescue those because technically it's not in California. It's not supposed to prevent warranties from happening. It's just so that they know that it's been opened and tampered with, so that they can look for signs that you caused damage. That's what the sticker's meant to be. They technically can't just legally, or they legally can't just void your warranty because that sticker's damaged. All right, anyways, we're gonna get this screw out as well. At least that's the last time I've heard anything about it, but I could be wrong. Anyways, I'm not a lawyer. Okay, so now what we're going to do, usually this, you don't want to just pull up on it because these pipes can be kind of fragile. So if we were to like pull, I don't know if you can tell, but it's not really budging anywhere. I don't know if there's any other hidden screws somewhere that I'm missing. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think there's any other. I think we got all of them. So usually what I have to do is I kind of have to wiggle this side to side like this. So I'll kind of pull on this, and like kind of just do this. And eventually we can kind of get it to move a little bit, but I don't know. This one has a lot of thermal pads. I'm going to try. Okay. We might actually have to pry up on these like little corners here of these more solid pieces and slowly peel it up because the thermal pads hold so strong. So you can see how this popped up, but you don't want to pull up too hard because you don't want to break that, bend these things. Okay, I'm going to flip that way, and then we're going to pull up on this side. Again, slowly, just pull on it, keep a constant pressure slowly, and eventually it should pop up. Okay, again, slow, constant pressure. Oh, did I bend this? I don't know how much this was sticking up before. I don't think I put that much pressure to bend it. Okay, so we're going to slowly pull up on this. Slow, constant pressure. I'm going to push down with my thumb here and keep pulling up. Okay, and it's released, as you can see. This is slowly releasing. So we're going to now lift this back over. Okay, and then let's see if we can now lift this. No, not quite. Okay, we can lift this piece, as you can see, and slowly wiggle it, and okay, I think it released. And oh, the thermal pads are under there. I want them to stay down, but I might have to manually push them down. Okay, so I'm gonna get one of these little tools here to try and push that down, but let me clean it up first because there's some stuff on it. I'll use some rubbing alcohol to clean it real quick. Okay, just clean the tip of this a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna lift this, and then the little pink thermal pads are wanting to come up, so I'm gonna see if I can just push it back down to keep it where it is. And then we'll continue to lift. So this actually used to all be one piece here. I don't know if you can see. A little bit more actually also peeled up with it, but that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and carefully lift this out. All right, so it looks like we do need to redo some of the thermal pads, okay? You can see on the VRAM, they put a paste, a goop, a putty. So we're gonna have to redo that putty. Okay, there's more hairs in here, and you can actually see more little dots of dust. So try and wipe that gunk out and clean that up. All right, there's little white dots of dust that are kind of, all right, it doesn't completely come out. So we're gonna have to clean the CPU die, the GPU die, and then the VRAM. and then we're gonna basically reapply that. So this thermal pad we can actually put back down here. It actually all used to be connected, so I'm going to try and scrape this one back off. Okay, and we're going to flip that back over onto it. So this one was like this. Okay, and there. Okay, now we have the pads all on top of those components again, so when we put it back, it'll be okay. The putty stuff here, usually it's not good to reuse this. Okay, so we're gonna scrape this stuff off and toss it. Okay, so this, you can see how it's not really a putty anymore, it's like crunchy. So I'm probably gonna have to hold this over a trash can and then dump all that out. So the other option is you can scrape it up and then use a vacuum to suck it up, but I don't know. Anyways, let me actually take off this thing. Okay, I had to take off the compression band thing. Alright. Anyways, we'll continue scraping off all this gunk, and then we will continue with the next part. So there's 4 of these chips with this stuff on it, and again we're gonna have to get it off from both sides, not just the chips but also, so it's somewhat of a putty but it's dry, it's like feels crunchy in a bit, it should be all completely gooey. So I'm gonna clean this off, scrape off what I can. Okay, nice that it's only 4 of those things that we have to redo. It's on the VRAM, the video RAM memory. Okay. Alright, so just get off what we can. Okay, you can see some of it wants to stick to my hand. Alright, I'm going to toss that in the trash. Smush my trash down. My trash can's getting full. Alright, and then we're going to have to scrape out all this old paste as well. Okay. It's not super important that you get 100% of it off, but I mean around the edges, but you do want to get it all off the die if you can, which is the shiny part. Okay, so scrape this off, and then we're going to use isopropyl alcohol to clean it the rest of the way. The rubbing alcohol will dissolve it and will help get that out. Okay. Alright, so hopefully, oops, I should have zoomed in here. Hopefully you guys get the idea. Basically just scraping all this stuff off. Okay. And do that all along here as well. Okay, and this one actually has like two dies, not just a single one, so okay, you can see how crunchy this stuff turned. At the same time, it's also kind of peeling up, so it's not completely bad, but it's getting there. So I guess it worked out that we had to clean this off. Alright, so again, it'll be good for me to do this outside over a trash can. Okay, you can see how it has a little separation right there. That's the second one. But yeah, I'm going to have to go to a trash can so I can kind of just dump this all out. Because it's going to be a lot harder to kind of just pick this stuff up. Okay, so there's that. You get the idea. You can also use a toothbrush to get out the small little bits. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with this. We're going to scrape it off from here, and these 4. So let me do that, and I'll be back. I'm going to go outside so I can scrape it into a trash can. All right, see you guys in a bit. All right, I scraped off all I could. Now let's go ahead and do the fine cleaning. We're just going to get a little isopropyl alcohol, put it on a paper towel, okay? And then we're just going to wipe this area, okay? The main one is just the dye, the silvery parts, okay? And then use a dry one to dry it up. I mean, it dries pretty quick, so you don't really need to worry too much about drying it, but you do want to make sure to get the lint off if you can, okay? Try not to leave lint on there. We'll work on it a little bit more with a new paper towel in a bit. Okay, we'll clean this one off as well. Okay, this one around the edges is more difficult. They put all this stuff on top of it. Okay, but the edges aren't that important because we're not really going to be cooling the around the edge of it. We're just cooling the silver thing. Okay, and then also the VRAM here. Okay, so these chips, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay. Okay, dry that up. You can use also a toothbrush on it to kind of get some of the stuff off. Okay, we're going to use one more new paper towel. Alright, and then we're just going to wipe it one last time a little bit. So wipe this with the wet one, dry it off. Okay, same thing here. Dry it off. Wipe this, but these aren't as important to wipe off. Okay. Dust it. Good. Alright, we'll set that aside and we'll now work on the heatsink portion. Same thing, we just gotta clean it off with some isopropyl alcohol. Okay. Alright, so just wipe it off, just like this. Clean up as much as you can. It'll turn kind of dark gray like that. That's normal. You can see this gross stuff coming off. We'll fold it over and do it again. Alright. You can do it again until like it doesn't really get gray anymore. Although the area around, I didn't really wipe that, so it's probably going to keep getting gray like that. Alright, dry portion. Okay, switch to a clean one and continue. Okay, you can see it's much cleaner now. Okay, still leaves a little, but it'll be impossible because it's going to keep oxidizing a little bit. But we'll just do the best we can here and here. Okay, you can see how black that got. It's a dry portion. Alright, we'll get some more, fold it over. More isopropyl alcohol. Same thing. Clean the dye. Clean all in here. All here. Okay. Dry it up. Alright, that's about as good as we're going to get it. So, now we got to figure out the fan. So let's find out which one is bad. I think it was this one. Okay, so this one's good, and this one's bad. Okay, so what we need to do is we have to actually, oops, sorry, you couldn't even see what I was doing. But I was spinning these fans, and this is the bad one. So we need to remove these tiny screws here. And I believe we're going to have to use a pH 0 to get those out. So let's switch over to the pH 0. And let's go ahead and get these screws out. Okay. Sometimes they'll also have tape. Again, keep all the screws in order. You don't want to mix them up. We might also take out the other fan just to see if there's like hair and stuff all stuck in there. Okay. Here. Okay, I think there's adhesive foams also kind of holding it maybe, but let's see. Are we missing some? It might be the tape that's holding it down. So you see all this adhesive here that's attaching the fan onto the heat sinks. So what I'm gonna have to do, we're gonna have to peel this stuff up. Okay, and let's go ahead and try and get under there. So we'll try and go in between the two, and then peel it up. Okay, you can peel up whichever side, either the side on the heatsink or the side on the fan. Usually the side on the heatsink will be easier to peel up because the uneven surface, okay, the unsmooth surface. So you can see we can peel that up, and then now we can kind of lift it, and it's slowly peeling as well. Okay, the thing is, I don't know if there's any other screws hidden. Okay, it doesn't seem like it. All right, so we can flip this back, and you can see this giant ball of dust. Okay, so we're gonna get that out. And there's some more over here. We'll get that out. And we'll clean this up. But that's not all. We have to re-grease the fan usually. So okay, this will help with cooling. But the main thing we need to do is we have to fix the fan because it's making a noise because the grease is bad. And usually what I find is when people have pets, there's like very fine dust. So that's what ends up getting in there, and then it messes up the fan. So let's see. This propeller doesn't come off easily. Let's go ahead and brush this. Can actually brush the fan a little bit more now that we have better access to it. Okay, and usually what we have to do, let me flip this over this way, okay, is the outer ring here. So on this, there's this circle, this round piece. So around this outer edge, we're going to be pushing on that from both sides, okay, from two sides. And you want to push straight across from each other as far out as you can. The problem is there's these metal pieces in the way, so I can't quite get right across, but we'll try and do as much as we can. So here and here. If you can do all three sides, but I don't know how you would do that evenly. So let's go ahead and see if we can pop this off. Jeez, okay, this fan is stuck on there strong. I don't know if we're going to be able to get this out. We might have to look for a replacement fan if we can't. Okay, so we're going to go from this side and see. Okay, so you want to push straight down, and then it will pop out like this. The magnets will kind of want to pull it back, but here you go. And you can see how it has this little notch at the very end. All right, that notch, that's how it holds on. So you can see I can actually grab it there. Okay, what we're gonna do, we're gonna get a piece of paper towel, okay, and we're just gonna wipe this shaft here. So just grab that and then just spin it around. And then if you can, get your fingernail or something in that little notch, so when you spin it, it gets in that little groove. And you can see kind of this yellowish gray stuff. So that's kind of cleaning it out. The fan's not completely terrible, but it's bad enough that it sticks. So when the fan tries to spin really fast, it kind of catches a little, and then it makes like a buzzing sound, like a or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so I'm gonna, since we have this out, I'm gonna actually brush this some more. I'll brush it off to the side because I don't want the dust going in the bearing and stuff. Okay, can't get it perfect, but I want to try and get as much out as I can. Okay, so it's cleaner now. Okay, now what we gotta do is we gotta put some oil or grease in there. You basically want to use a grease that's meant for moving components, moving parts. I'm just using some motor oil. I have some synthetic motor oil from my car that I used to use. I don't use it anymore. If you don't have that, sewing machine oil will work. Anything where it's like meant to help with moving components. Okay, now, oops, I'm knocking some screws down. Okay, so I'm gonna use a folded out paper clip for this because the thing here is somewhat small. And basically we're gonna dip the paper clip into the oil and then use that to drip it into the hole. So I just tipped the oil bottle over here. This is just regular motor oil. Okay, and then I don't know if you can see, but droplets are forming. And now we're just going to tip it over and go straight into the hole there. Okay, try and get it into the hole. Okay, just like that. Okay, it did go a little bit outside. That's okay. We're just going to wipe it up. Okay, let's wipe it off like that. Be careful you don't damage the copper windings. All right, if you want, if there's a little bit still stuck there, you can use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. Don't put too much. It's just enough to help wipe off the oil or the grease. Okay, now we can lightly drop it back in, and then you can spin it a little. Okay, we're not gonna put it all the way back in yet because we still need to take it out, clean it a little, and then add a little more grease. Okay, yeah, and clean that. And you can kind of see now that the grease is more clean, more yellow. Obviously, depending what kind of grease you put in there, it will be a different color. You can put like, I think sewing machine oil is clear. Usually it's like a mineral oil or something. Anyways, get more oil into there. Okay, I think that's plenty oil in there. So we should now be able to just snap it back into place. So we're gonna clean this off again. Okay. All right, and now we'll get the fan back on, line it up, drop it down, and then click it down. Pinch the two layers together in the middle, just like that. Now when we spin it, it should be a lot smoother. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but it wiggles back and forth. Okay, and we're going to use this to blow it as well. All right. I'm going to actually pop it out one more time just to check, clean it up, and then we'll put it back together completely. Right, so again, push straight from the two sides, pop it out just like that. And there we go. All right, you can see the oil went even down to there. So that's actually a little bit too much oil. All right, I'm gonna get that and we're just gonna hold it like that and wipe it off. Oh, there's a fly trapped in here. Okay, so we cleaned it, but you can see the oil is all the same color, so that means it's good, it's clean. Okay, so we can actually just put it back in now. So it should be enough oil like that. Okay, and now you can see how smooth. You see that wobble at the end? That's how you know, again, that the fan is good. So when it has that little jiggle, you see that jiggle? Like if I push it slightly and the magnet can pull it back, that's how you know the fan should be good, well greased. Okay, so we're gonna flip this thing back over. Make sure it lines up. There's a little notch here that you need to make sure it goes into, okay? There we go, and then you can go ahead and tape this back down. We'll flip this thing back over, and then we'll get all the little screws back in. And then we'll go ahead and take apart the other side just to clean it up, because we don't want to leave a bunch of dust in there. We're not going to do the grease thing because if the grease is fine, you don't want to mess with it, okay? All right, so we'll get all these screws back in. Some people say like, well, you're already there, why not just do it to that too? With this design, the ones where you have to push it off that, where it's kind of clicked into place, there's a little bit of risk to it. So I don't want to take out a fan that's already working okay. All right. Get the last two screws. So that's why we're just going to clean the dust off. Alright, you can see how the fan spins now, and we can actually compare it to this one. See that? So how's that wiggle jiggle? Alright, and this one actually wiggle jiggles a little bit better. Alright, it's probably because there's the grease on here is a little bit thicker. Alright, so we'll get all these screws out. Same thing. This one, does this one have less screws? Okay, I see 4. Sometimes they hide it underneath tape and stuff. They might be hiding one underneath the tape here, the adhesive. So let's go ahead and see. Let's peel this up a little bit. It might not be a screw, but I want to make sure. Oh man, this one's kind of being a pain. Let's see. Come on. Trying to peel up this little corner. Okay. And yeah, there's a screw there. See that? They like to hide stuff. That's why I was a little bit worried on the other one. Okay. Oh, does this screw even come out? It's just spinning non-stop. So maybe the screw's not holding well. Okay, anyways, maybe they put that tape because that screw's not holding well. I was loosening it and nothing was happening. But anyways, yeah, this side, see, I wasn't sure, but there was a screw there, so I wasn't sure if there was another one up here somewhere. All right, let's go ahead and flip this over and take a look, because we're going to have to probably peel this up as well. Yep. So we'll go ahead and try and peel this up. We'll go on this in between here and peel it away from the heatsink portion. Just like that, same as the other one. And once you kind of get it started, you should be able to kind of lift it away, but you want to go slow. Okay, push down on here on the heatsink and slowly peel it. Okay, Again, you don't want to go fast. Just go slow and let the adhesive slowly peel itself away. Hopefully that other screw is okay with it not being yanked out. Okay, it looks like it's just coming out, flipping over. Oh, see? That thing was like stuck. It wouldn't even come out. What the heck? So that plastic just completely separated from there. All right, there's a bunch of hairs in here. It's like partially stuck to the adhesive on the other side. Okay, you can see all that hair, so we'll get rid of that. Okay, I'm gonna have to use the toothbrush again, and hopefully we can kind of get most, if not all of it out. Might as well clean the inside because we're here. Alright, so this one the screw wouldn't come out at all. It just kept spinning and nothing was happening. So we'll close that back up. Actually, wait. Oh yeah, that's the right one. That's the one that wouldn't come out. So, was this even attached to anything? I don't know. It's just plastic. Alright, anyways, once we screw everything else down, it will hold itself in place. So we'll put the adhesive back down. We cleaned out all that gunk. Let's flip this back over. Okay, and then we'll get the screws back in there. Alright, and once we do that, we just gotta put some new thermal paste and get everything back in place. Well, we have thermal paste and thermal putty. We're gonna have to use both. Okay. Put these screws in. Last screw here. Yeah, this screw doesn't do anything. Let me actually see if I can tighten it or anything at all. But it was just spinning non-stop. Nothing was happening, so I doubt it. Yeah, nothing's happening. Just spins non-stop. Okay, so we'll just tuck this back in there. Tape that all back down. And there we go. Okay. So now we have to get this back on there. We're gonna get new paste and or putty. We're gonna put new putty on there, and then the PTM7950, and we should be good. All right. So here's the PTM7950. This is the putty. I want to make sure I'm not opening a brand new one. Okay. This is the same one. Okay. Let's see. Wait, is this the one I was using? Okay, yeah, this is the one. All right. I need one of the gloves as well. Alright, so let me double check here. Alright, so let me make sure. I think I have this. Yeah, this is the one I was using last time. It still has the putty on the glove. Alright, so I'm going to start with the PTM7950. So this comes as a sheet. You can get it from all different sources. Alright, This is the stuff from Linus Tech Tips. If you're wondering why I bought this, it's because I work on so many, and I found if I buy the really large seats, multiple of them, and get free shipping, then it's actually a better deal than buying the smaller ones. But that's only, again, because I do this for a living. Okay, so we gotta line this up. Let's see, make sure I'm not hitting any of those pads. Okay, and we'll cut a piece like that. So this is the right size for that. It'll be a little bit extra taller there, but that's okay. All right, so what I need to do is just cut the right size of the putty here, or the PTM7950 stuff. Okay, and the way I do that is I just line it up here and see how long I need. Okay, and I need it to go till there. Okay, I'm gonna mark this, and I'm gonna mark the other side. The reason I do that is so I remember to take out the clear layer on both sides. All right, so now we're gonna use some scissors. We're just gonna cut this to size. I think it will fit the rest of it will fit the GPU, but we'll need a longer one. Okay, so we'll basically just cut it like this. Okay, actually let me see where the GPU one will be. I can do both at the same time. Mark this. Okay, so the GPU one, we just need it the same height. And we'll cut it on this line. Okay. So this one, the GPU, we will cut here. And I draw it so that I have to cut on the outside of the blue. You don't need to copy me, okay? Do what works for you. This is how I figure out where I need to cut it. Okay, so there's that. And we'll cut here for the GPU. Okay, and then the CPU will basically be just cut all the way down this line. All right, there we go. Now we have that one. Put the excess away. Okay, so it doesn't get contaminated with dust or anything. All right, next, we're gonna have to just line it up, peel the layer off. We're only gonna peel one side off for now to make sure everything is lined up, so you can see, make sure it fits well. Make sure it's even. Okay, looks like it's about pretty much the same on both sides, so we can do either side. All right, now I'm going to use these tweezers to just separate one of the layers. There we go, just like that. Okay, and then, oops, I need to, let me clean the tweezers real quick. It has some gunk on it. Okay, now we're going to use the tweezers to pick up the thing. All right, like this. And now we can just plop it on, okay? Let me make sure this is clean. Isopropyl alcohol wipe. Dry it off. Lots of lint. There we go. Okay. Now you just line this up. down and stick it on. All right, so we got that. We won't peel this until we get all of this done, okay? So we're gonna do the same thing with this one. Make sure we have it the right way, because it's only long one way, right? Actually, is it a square? It looked rectangular, but is it actually square? Okay, looks like it's actually a square. So now we got the same thing, just peel one of the sides off. Whichever side peels up first. Sorry if I go out of view of the camera. All right, so now that I got a portion, I'm going to grab it with the tweezers, peel the rest off. All right, and then let's line this up. Also, this stuff, when the heatsink goes on, it smushes super thin. So even if you have like a slight edge not covered, don't worry about it. When you put the CPU or GPU on, it will actually smear it even thinner, and it will cover it, don't worry, okay? All right, you don't want to have it like too much not covered, but tiny bit's okay. All right, now we got to put the thermal putty on there, okay? So I'm going to use the gloves for this. And because we need to shape the putty onto there. Okay, so use one of these little smudgy thingies, and we're just going to scoop some out here. Okay, and we're basically just going to smush it on top of this. Okay, and that might actually be a lot more than enough. So we're just going to smush it all on there and then flatten it out. I think I put a lot more than necessary. This stuff is very thermally conductive, but it doesn't conduct electricity. So if you have it overflow, it's not a big deal, other than it being costly material that you're wasting. This stuff, this little thing, I forget how much it was, but it was pretty pricey. Okay. They have a smaller one that's like, I think it's like $40 to $60, and this is like the big one, it's over $100, so unless prices changed or something. But, okay, so there we go, but that's definitely more than enough. Okay, basically just scoop that stuff up, plop it down, smush it into place. It's a little difficult to work with because it wants to stick on like your fingers, because it like when it warms up. Okay. It's a little tricky to work with this stuff. Like you can try and just smush it like that, and then shape it. Yeah, this one definitely has way more. I'm gonna have to take it from there and smush it onto here. And then push the excess over. trying to shape it so it's all on the chip. It's a little tricky to shape this. Good thing this one only has 4 chips, because some computers will have like more than 8, and this stuff is kind of painful to apply. See how it doesn't want to stick down. So I just jab it at it like this. And then slowly jab it to shape it. Okay. And the last one. It's probably too much. On there. Even just trying to jab at it, you see how it's sticking? Okay, let's see if I can take the excess off of this. Sorry for the long process, but this is what you're in for if you're using this. This stuff is Thermal Grizzly Putty Pro. Okay. It does really well at pulling the heat away, but as you can see, it's quite a bit of trouble to apply this stuff. All right, I need to get a closer look at this, make sure it's in. Okay. It's not completely all covering the chip, so I'm gonna have to actually spread it on all of them a bit better. This one a bit closer that way. Okay. Okay. That's about right. This one, the corner is not quite covered. should be good. All right. So there you go. That's what that looks like. Okay. Now we just gotta put all this thing back together. All right. Put this stuff away. In here. All right, so now that we got all the putty and everything in, all right, so now that we got all the putty in, we do need to peel out the last protective layer on these two. Go under and peel that up. Oh, it's wanting to peel a portion of that up. We don't want that. Stay down. Huh, why does it want to? Let's try and peel from this side first. For some reason, a portion of this stuff doesn't want to stay stuck down. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. There's a tiny little gap at the very top, but again, when you put the thing on, it will smush it completely flat and it'll spread it out a bit more, so don't worry about that little tear right there. It should be good. All right, so we'll now zoom back out. We'll put the fan back in and we should be good to go. All right, let's get the fan. Don't ruin it. Okay, I'm gonna carefully drop this back into place. Lower that. Make sure this lines up, and then we can drop the other one. Make sure that all lines up. Okay, so these little screw things usually are numbered, but they're very faint. So 1, 2, 3. This one's 5. Yeah, I can't even really read that. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna put the 2 screws that hold the fan so they stay in the right place. Make sure to switch back to the PH1 JAS1 screwdriver bit. Okay. All right. And we're first going to put in the fan screw down here. And the other fan screw over here. This will just keep it in place so it doesn't wiggle around. Okay, if you want, you can also put the RAM box thing back in. Just make sure all the edges line up with the little clips. It's supposed to slot between it, and then just push it down, okay? I don't know if there's any on the back here. I don't think so. Are there? I didn't really look that close at the back to see. Let me actually pull it all the way up just to make sure. Are there any at the back? Nope, there's none at the back. Okay, so just line up all the little ones. The front, if you line up the front here and then one of the sides, then the rest should be good. Okay. Okay, push the front and sides, and then this side as well. There we go. Make sure wedges in between all of that. Okay, so screw number 1 is this one in the middle. So we're going to go ahead and put that screw. Okay, good. Screw number 2 is this one up here. All right. Screw number 3 is this one over here. If you notice, I always twist it backwards first until it clicks. Okay, screw number 4 is this one here. Screw number 5 is this one down here. And screw number 6 is the one all the way up there. Okay. Okay, now we can go ahead and plug back in the fans. Very important, because if you don't, your computer's going to run super hot and then you're going to ruin all the work you did. It's going to hit 100 degrees Celsius and then you're going to end up frying all the paste that you applied. It does take a while, but every time it hits 100 degrees Celsius, it's like getting so hot, it's drying up and burning up that paste. All right, pinch these in. All right, and I think we got everything back in. I wish this one had larger gaps so I could see underneath. Some of them, they have a gap where you can kind of see underneath to see how the thermal pads and paste is like smushing out through the gaps. This one you can't really see because it's like here and here. But there's not enough room underneath to really see. But it should be good, okay? All right, and I think we got everything else except for the battery. So let's go ahead and plug the battery back in. Sorry I wasn't zooming in on everything that I was doing, but hopefully you were able to see. All right, pinch that back in. Good, make sure that goes back in. And we can go ahead and power it up right now and see if, make sure it turns on. The customer was trying to give me their charger. I thought I had one, but I don't know if another customer borrowed it. I mean, it is powering on, but I thought I had one of those more powerful chargers, but I guess not. Okay, so it's powering on, so we should be good to go. All right, I'm gonna make sure Windows starts, but I'm covering it just in case it shows a username, and sometimes customers don't like their username to be shown. Okay. We didn't undo the touchpad, did he? Oh, maybe he disabled the touchpad. Is there a touchpad button here? F10. Okay, well, I don't know if he disabled the touchpad. I didn't remove that. Let's try it. Function F10. No. Okay. Anyways, you can see both fans were spinning. I didn't hear any weird noises, so we should be good to go. All right, their username is all Chinese, so yeah. It's not touchscreen. Should be F10, right? Okay, let me try and go to their BIOS then, just in case. So I'm going to shut it down. And again, we're going to use the one key recovery button. So that's the little button on the bottom. We'll press that. I'm going to shut it down first because I want to make sure their touchpad is working. I don't know if they had an issue with their touchpad or not. I didn't mess with the cables or anything, so it shouldn't have any problems. My guess is they disabled it in the my guess is they disabled it in the device manager or something. Okay, so we're going to push this little button here, and you can see it turned itself on. The fans are spinning. Oh, there's some hairs. We don't want that going into there after we did all that work. Okay, and now you have this. Okay, so we're going to go to BIOS setup. The fans are spinning up again. All right, I just want to see, can I see the mouse? No? Huh. I have to ask him about the touchpad because I'm not sure if the touchpad screen works here. I would assume it should. Yeah, because I can't do anything else there. I'm going to push the power button to shut it off if it lets me. Doesn't look like it. Tab isn't doing anything. Huh. Nothing was changed with the touchpad. Touchpad's underneath this little tape here. We didn't even mess with that, so I don't know what's going on there. But let's go ahead and check it. So this is a touchpad connector. I mean it's just taped in there, nothing. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask the customer. We didn't do anything with the touchpad. Okay, I'm gonna force shut it off. Power it on one more time. Let's see. Unless it needs some of these, unless it needs the bottom cover on, maybe we'll pull the battery up and see if we see anything on the other side. But yeah, the touchpad's not responding at all. Huh. Strange. No touchpad. Nope, no touchpad. Nope, no touchpad. Let's try a restart. Sometimes you have to restart the computer, but it didn't work on BIOS, so I doubt restarting it's going to do anything. Huh. The only other thing to check is to pull the battery up and see. He doesn't have any USB devices attached that could cause it to disable. There's some like gross stuff on it, but other than that, that shouldn't. Still no touchpad. Huh. Nope, still no touch. Oh wait, there it is. Okay, now I can see it. You see that? It's super tiny and purple. Okay, now I'm going to use the touchpad to shut it down. Okay, now I'm curious. Why wasn't it working in the BIOS? Let's try it again. Because I would assume it should work in BIOS. I can't read anything because it's all in Chinese, so. Is it shutting down? What happened? Why is this arrow so tiny? Okay, it did shut down. Okay, let's go ahead now and start up the one key recovery again. Okay, oh yeah, see the mouse now? So I don't know why it wasn't working, but it's working now. All right, maybe it did need that restart. Okay, anyways, we'll shut this off. I'm assuming that's exit. I don't know. What is this? Okay, it's loading Windows now. All right, so that's pretty much it. We should be good to go. Let's go ahead and get the bottom cover back on. And that's all there is to it. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. Again, if it did, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their device as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Again, if you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. I also have another channel called It's Been Reviewed and More. Same profile picture, but zoomed in. If you can subscribe to that one, that will really help me out. I need to get that one to 1,000 subscribers, and it's a slow process. But anyways, let's go ahead and click these all in. Okay, so we'll just work our way around. Just like that. And then we'll get all these last screws back in. Again, that's pretty much it. You're welcome to stay as I get all these screws back in. But, yeah, not really much else to it. Anyways, again, thanks for watching. And I'll see you all in the next one. Alright, let's get these last few screws. You can hear the fan is spinning really nice. All right. Also, if you're wondering, the customer brought their computer to me at around 2:30 a.m. and I think it's now like almost 5 a.m. Let's see, it's 4:23. So yeah, this basically took me about 2 hours to do. All right, last few screws. Oh, jeez. Yeah, cleaning out all the extra dust from the fans and getting all the old paste and stuff off. That wasn't part of this video, so hopefully that part you guys are able to figure it out. It's basically just brushing all of that stuff out and scraping out the gunk. Alright, but that's pretty much it. Should be good. Alright. I don't know why he made his arrows so hard to see. Alright, anyways, I'll shut that down. The screen is a little bit dirty, so I might as well clean that up as well. If you're wondering how do you clean the screens and stuff like this, you just use a little isopropyl alcohol or even a tiny bit of water works, depending on what's spilled on there. Usually, I'll use a little bit of water first. So I have a hole in the lid of this bottle. I put a little bit of water there, okay? You don't want enough that can drip out anywhere. So you put a little bit, not enough to fill the entire thing here. And then you can just use that to wipe it. You can see how it gets most of the gunk out. As long as it's not greasy stuff, usually water will get most of it out, okay? So that's all you need. But again, you don't want enough that it can drip anywhere. So if you're using a piece of paper or a towel, just put enough that it only wets a little area, and then that way the water can spread out to the dry area, and we'll use that to prevent it from leaking. Okay. There you go. You can see how most of it's coming out. Some gunk all on the edges here. Oh, the keyboard left some scratches on it. It looks like I can see like some marks from the keys. All right, now we're going to use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. If he's lucky and it's grease, then those marks will come out. And nope, they're scratches. So sadly, it's not going to come out. Okay, I did what I could. I tried to clean it. Okay, there you go. The screen is much nicer now. We can also clean the keyboard a little bit since it's kind of gross. Oh. Uh-oh. Why is this key popping up? Let's see here. Can I pop it out? One of these keys are popping out. That's not good. Let's see, I'm going to try and pull the key apart so that we can repair it. Oh, I can't see the other side of the key, so I'm not sure of this design. Let's see if I can repair this key while I'm at it. On the other side. Okay. Pop the key out. Okay, so the clips are towards the top. Let's see, is this piece broken or why isn't it holding? What? Oh, the little plastic bar that goes across the top is snapped off, so it doesn't have the little plastic piece that goes across the top. So sadly, to repair that, they would need a new hinge here. The only thing that you can really do is move a less used key to there. So if it's like the same, maybe like one of these, you can move something like that, or like the function key if it's the same. The function key looks like it might be the same, so that can actually be moved to this area because the E key is probably used way more often. Maybe even the Windows key can be swapped over. So we can go ahead and pop this guy up, get the thing in there. Okay, and then I'm going to slide the thing to the top of the key because that's where the little clips are. And hopefully I won't cause another one to have problems. Let's see. There we go. Pop that out and pop that side out. There we go. Now we got this up. Okay. So I'm going to swap this so that way a less used key will be the one that has the weird issue. Let me see if I can show you this. Again, basically what I did is I got underneath the key here while lifting it. So this opens up like that. Got this under there and then slid it this way because on the back of the key, the top has these. It basically grabs like this, and we're basically lifting that to separate the thing like this, okay? The other one has like a weird hook that you can't pop out that way, so make sure you're doing the right one. Okay, we're gonna try and get this one out first. And basically we're going in between. Oh, let me see if I can zoom in to show this. So this is extra to show you guys. All right, so we're gonna go under here. So lift this up. We're gonna go in between these two hinge pieces, and you can see how we can pop that out. Same thing on the other side. Okay, pop that out. And there we go. And then now we got this piece out and this piece out. To put this back, you need to push this back in. You can see where it's broken here. So we can go ahead and push this back in there and then get this back in there. Okay, so now we have these two pieces back together. We're gonna do the same with the Windows key so that we can swap it over. Okay, so lift this up, get in there with the small flathead screwdriver and pull that apart so that we can get that little piece out. Same thing over here. Pull that out. Okay. Oh, we pulled it the other way, so there you go. Get this out. Then wiggle that. Okay, so lift. You have to slide this, the little one down and the bigger one up, okay, to unhook it. Come on, it doesn't want to unhook. Why is it unhooking? Oh, is it because the bigger one is in the way? Huh, these pieces don't want to unhook. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, there we go. So I used this to help push from the inside. It made it easier. Okay, so we got the little one and then we got the big one here. All right, so we got the two pieces. Make sure you don't flip it upside down. If you look at this, you can see you want this little bar that it latches towards the bottom of the keyboard because that's what the hook goes into. Same thing with this one. You want the bar. I don't know if you can see it. Focus. Okay, you see that bar? The hole is towards the top and then the bar's towards the bottom. All right, we're gonna put these two pieces back together. Get one of those little thingies back in the side and then go over here, same thing. Pull this outwards so it can go in and get that in. Okay, now we're gonna get this back up in here. Okay, so we're gonna have to hook it on. Oh, there's some hairs under here too. Hopefully none of the metal pieces are bent. They look okay. All right, so the hook at the top seems more aggressive, so we're gonna hook the top portion in first, okay? So now that we got that in, we should be able to just pull this. As we pull it down, we should be able to click this. You see it clicked back in. We'll take the letter E key, start with the bottom, and then click the top. There we go. Now it's staying in. You can see the E key is not popping out. All right, so we'll do the same thing with the Windows key. The only thing is, because this now we're swapping over, I'm going to put that there. Okay, hook that in. And then we have this one that needs to hook as well. The problem is this top portion isn't hooking on anything. So yeah, but anyways, we'll go ahead and push the Windows key back on there. And yeah, hopefully, I mean, it doesn't pop out that much. If you like quickly tap it or pull it, then it can come out, but yeah. All right, so there we go. That's how you replace the keys on, at least those keys, these ones. The space bar and stuff will be different. I have a video showing how to do that kind of stuff. So if you want to learn how to do that, yeah, I have a playlist showing how to repair or replace keyboards on laptops. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Maybe I'll get a thumbnail of this as well. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you on the next one. All right, let's drop this. Bye.